It was the sitcom that almost got banned before it ever aired. A family comedy so controversial that test audiences walked out in disgust, and network executives feared it would destroy television. All in the Family. What started as a British import became the show that changed American television forever, sparking national debates about racism, politics, and social issues that no one had dared discuss on prime time. But the real story behind Archie Bunker's bigotry reveals battles, controversies, and cultural impact that even devoted fans never fully understood. The British import that nearly died before Archie Bunker ever uttered his first controversial opinion, Norman Lear faced a Hollywood nightmare that nearly killed his revolutionary concept. Lear wanted to adapt the British series Till Death Us Do Part for American television, but every network executive thought he was insane. They kept telling me that American audiences would never accept a bigoted main character, Lear revealed years later. The British show worked because it was clearly satire. American TV executives feared audiences would miss the irony and embrace the prejudice. ABC commissioned 2 pilots that were rejected as too controversial and potentially dangerous. CBS initially passed, calling the concept unworkable for American family television. The breakthrough came only when CBS needed programming to compete with other networks' groundbreaking content. What saved All in the Family was a scheduling crisis and executive desperation. CBS finally aired the pilot with unprecedented content warnings, preparing audiences for television unlike anything they'd seen before. The test screenings were disasters. Audiences walked out, complained, and demanded the show be canceled before it began. Carroll O'Connor's Archie, the lovable bigot dilemma. Carroll O'Connor faced television's most challenging acting assignment, creating a character who was simultaneously despicable and sympathetic, bigoted yet lovable. The liberal actor had to inhabit America's most famous conservative, while making audiences understand rather than simply hate him. Archie couldn't just be a cartoon villain, O'Connor explained. He had to represent real people with real fears, even when those fears led to horrible opinions. This nuanced approach made Archie Bunker one of television's most complex characters. O'Connor studied working-class speech patterns and attitudes, ensuring that Archie's prejudices felt authentically rooted in economic anxiety and cultural confusion rather than pure evil. The actor's own liberal politics informed his understanding of how good people could hold terrible views. The most shocking aspect of O'Connor's performance was the hate mail and death threats he received from viewers who couldn't separate the actor from his character. "People thought I actually believed Archie's nonsense," O'Connor noted. "They couldn't understand that portraying bigotry isn't the same as endorsing it." What made Archie work was O'Connor's commitment to showing the human cost of prejudice, how bigotry isolated and diminished the person holding those views. Gene Stapleton's Edith, more than a dingbat. Gene Stapleton's portrayal of Edith Bunker was far more sophisticated than the dingbat label suggested. The brilliant actress deliberately created a character who appeared simple-minded while possessing hidden intelligence and moral clarity that often surpassed her husband's. Edith wasn't actually stupid, Stapleton revealed. She was a woman who had learned to survive by appearing harmless and non-threatening, but in crucial moments, her true wisdom emerged. This subtle characterization made Edith the show's moral center. Stapleton fought constantly with writers to ensure Edith had moments of genuine insight and strength. The episodes where Edith stood up to Archie or demonstrated unexpected knowledge became fan favorites because they revealed her true character. What viewers didn't realize was how Stapleton used Edith's apparent simplicity as a vehicle for delivering the show's most profound observations. Edith's innocent questions often expose the absurdity of prejudice more effectively than direct confrontation. The dingbat persona was deliberately misleading, a performance within a performance that allowed a brilliant actress to explore themes of female intelligence, survival, and quiet resistance in a male-dominated world. The Bunker family dynamics. The casting of Rob Reiner and Sally Struthers as Mike and Gloria created the perfect generational conflict that drove All in the Family's most powerful episodes. The liberal young couple served as Archie's ideological opponents while remaining family members he genuinely loved. The family dynamic had to feel real, Reiner explained. We couldn't just be political mouthpieces. We had to be people who actually cared about each other despite fundamental disagreements. This authentic emotional foundation made the political arguments more compelling. Many of the most memorable family confrontations were partially improvised. The cast developed such strong chemistry that they could authentically argue about controversial topics while maintaining believable family bonds. Struthers revealed that the generational conflict reflected real American families torn apart by changing social attitudes. We were showing what was happening in living rooms across the country, she noted. Families learning to love each other despite political differences. The show's genius was demonstrating that political disagreement didn't have to destroy family relationships, a lesson that feels even more relevant in today's polarized climate. The topics no one would touch. All in the Family shattered television taboos by addressing subjects that other shows wouldn't dare mention. Episodes dealing with rape, homosexuality, impotence, and menopause brought previously forbidden topics into American living rooms through primetime television. We weren't trying to be shocking for shock value, Norman Lear explained. We were trying to address real issues that affected real families but were never discussed openly. This approach made controversial topics accessible through familiar characters. The network censors fought constantly to tone down or eliminate groundbreaking episodes. The famous toilet flush in the pilot episode required months of negotiations, while episodes about sexual assault and homosexuality faced potential cancellation. What made these controversial topics work was the show's commitment to treating them with genuine seriousness rather than cheap sensationalism. Even when addressing taboo subjects, the focus remained on human relationships and emotional truth. The most remarkable achievement was how the show normalized discussions about previously forbidden topics, paving the way for more open social conversations beyond television. The political powder keg. All in the Family's treatment of contemporary political issues transformed television from pure entertainment into social commentary. The show addressed Vietnam War protests, Watergate, civil rights, and women's liberation through the Bunker family's heated discussions. We were reflecting the arguments happening in real American homes, Lear noted. Politics wasn't abstract, it was personal and emotional. This approach made political issues more accessible and understandable to average viewers. The show attracted attention from the White House, with both Democratic and Republican politicians claiming it supported their positions. This political ambiguity was intentional. Lear wanted viewers to think rather than simply agree. What made the political content effective was how it emerged naturally from character conflicts rather than forced messaging. Archie's conservative views and Mike's liberal opinions created organic opportunities for exploring contemporary issues. The most fascinating aspect was how both conservative and liberal viewers found validation in different aspects of the show, proving that good television could present multiple perspectives simultaneously. The casting controversies and changes. The intensity of performing All in the Family's controversial material took a tremendous toll on cast members, leading to departures and conflicts that shaped the show's evolution. Several actors left due to the emotional stress of dealing with such heavy topics week after week. Rob Reiner revealed that playing Mike Stivich became increasingly difficult as the character's political arguments grew more heated. It was exhausting to be angry and passionate every episode, Reiner explained. The political debates felt real because they were emotionally real. Guest stars sometimes refused to appear on the controversial series, fearing association with its inflammatory content would damage their careers. Other performers specifically sought roles on the show because they wanted to participate in groundbreaking television. The successful spin-offs, Maude, The Jeffersons, Good Times, expanded the All in the Family universe by exploring different aspects of American social issues through various family structures and economic backgrounds. What's remarkable is how the show's demanding emotional content created lasting bonds among cast members who supported each other through the stress of performing such challenging material. The cultural impact beyond television. All in the Family's influence extended far beyond entertainment into real social and political conversations. Academic studies examined how the show affected American attitudes toward race, gender, and political discourse. The show gave people permission to discuss topics they'd never talked about openly. Sociologist Dr. Michael Robinson noted, "It created a shared vocabulary for addressing difficult social issues. This cultural impact transformed how Americans communicated about controversial subjects." International versions of the show adapted American social controversies for different cultures, proving that the themes of generational conflict and changing social attitudes were universal human experiences. The most significant impact was how the show normalized serious discussion of social issues through popular entertainment, establishing television as a legitimate forum for addressing important cultural questions. What makes the show's legacy endure is how it demonstrated that comedy could tackle serious subjects without losing its entertainment value or emotional authenticity. The production battles behind the scenes. Norman Lear's fights with network censors became legendary struggles that shaped each controversial episode. The battles over language, content, and social issues were as dramatic as anything that appeared on screen. Every episode was a war, Lear revealed. The network wanted to water down everything that made the show important. These censorship fights actually improved the show by forcing writers to find more creative ways to address controversial topics. The cast dealt with enormous pressure from performing taboo material week after week. O'Connor and Stapleton developed techniques for separating themselves from their characters' most difficult moments. The stress and exhaustion affected everyone involved in production. The show's intensity required emotional resources that traditional sitcoms never demanded from their creators and performers. What emerged from these production battles was a template for how television could address serious social issues while maintaining entertainment value and commercial success. The legacy: television that changed America. All in the Family opened doors for serious television comedy that subsequent shows are still walking through today. The barriers it broke down enabled everything from The Daily Show to Atlanta to exist. We proved that television could be more than just escapist entertainment, Lear reflected. We showed that popular culture could participate in important social conversations. This legacy transformed how television approaches contemporary issues. The shows it inspired, from Roseanne to Blackish, continue addressing social issues through family dynamics, proving that the All in the Family formula remains relevant and powerful. Why attempts to revive or remake the show have failed is simple. The original succeeded because it emerged from specific historical circumstances that can't be recreated or duplicated. The lasting impact is how All in the Family demonstrated that entertainment could serve democracy by encouraging difficult but necessary conversations about social progress and human understanding. If you've enjoyed these All in the Family revelations, appreciate how one controversial family changed all of television. Sometimes the most important entertainment makes us uncomfortable while making us think.